designed in order to mitigate the channel induced degradation. And the input of the equalizer filter, that is PRT. Okay, and this is the, we are talking about the zero forcing equalizer analysis. Okay, so this is the transversal filter. Okay, and see, and we have studied that HTF, HRF, channel transfer function HCF, and HEF. Now that we will design this H equalizer should be HCF's inverse that we discussed, and HTF, and that is the transmitter filter and receiving filter. Basically, these two components, if it is clubbed together, it is H, the raised cosine that we have studied. If it is H raised cosine filter, then I don't have any. If there is no, if it is HRCF, why I should try to make? Then it is that zero ISI, zero intersection. Now you see that means the input is coming like that. This is my input. This is the transmitter. Then HT. Then first there's a HT, then a channel, then HR, then HE. So that means all you have here when you have designed the input of the equalizer, that if there is no channel degradation, if there is HCF equal to 1, then it is HT and HR product. Now HTF and HRF is the HRCF. If it is S cosine, then I don't have zero. I should have zero ISI kind of. Zero ISI means at the sampling, at the symbol time duration TB, there should be a zero crossing. But you see that this is not. Due to this channel induced degradation, this is not a zero crossing. Okay. So what we have to do, we have to design this HE so that HE and HC inverse, that HC would be 1 by HC, so that if I have whole chain from that input to output, that HT into HR, which is HRC, and HRC means it is a concept of, this is the raised cosine characteristics, if you remember time. Okay, now raised cosine characteristic, we say that, rather we will say that this is a raised cosine characteristic. The point is that why the zero forcing equalizer, that is at sampling point, single sampling point, this is 1, and rest all these points, this is 0. That's why we are saying that means zero forcing means here we are forcing the zeros. This point, this point. That means we are designing a filter so that input is this one, output is this. And it's a linear filter, and if we remember that in the last class we discussed that it is like this, and this is a 12-lead structure, and finally we got your C, it is a 2n cross 1 length, okay, and PV inverse P0, PV or PR, sorry, PR inverse P0, and as we generally don't do this inverse, as it is a 12-lead structure, 12-lead matrix can be means characterized by the first column and the first row. And we can easily calculate PR inverse as an iterative process, because otherwise if you do a normal in, then also you can do, but it will be ONQ with the computation. But if you without using the structure of this matrix, any arbitrary matrix without the structure, the matrix inverse is NQ. But as we are in the split structure, we will use the structure, then the computation is much less. We use that, and finally we will calculate this C. This is the zero forcing equalizer. Now in this one, so that's C equal to PR inverse. And as an example, you can check that. Next is some sort of a minimum mean square error equalizer. Now in this minimum mean square error equalizer, what we are trying to do, basically, that here if you remember, we are taking 2n minus n into plus n. What are the number of data points if you consider? That means it is a 2n plus 1 plus 2n plus 1 matrix. So this is some sort of a 2n plus 1. That is minus n to plus. Now here I am saying no. So I will rather say that means because it will cross up to minus infinity to plus infinity, minus infinity to plus infinity. Now I am saying no, I will not take minus 2n to plus n, rather I will take further more number of data points, say minus k to plus n. Okay. So here and if you remember, that means it is, what is my PR? If you take minus, so that means 0, T0, 2t, 2tb, 3tb up to minus kt. Okay. So and here also I will take, that means 0, 1. At this point 1, 0, 0 up to minus k to plus k. That means rather you can say that this function, that means it is 0, 0, 0, 1, 0, 0, say minus k to plus k, that is 2k plus 1. Then I can say this is something like that delta n. Okay. Of the signal length is minus k to plus k. And this is my PRT. I am taking that PRT. And I am calculating the results. So what I am doing, this is my that P0k and this is my delta. Okay. And minus k to plus k mean square error 1 by 2k plus 1. So if I do this, basically if I just do the derivative minimization problem using the derivative, you will get that C equal to PR. This is a pseudo inverse, Wood-Penrose inverse of a non-square matrix into P. That means, and this is this PR. This is basically the dimension is 2k plus 1 plus 2n plus. Let me take, so this is this. Let me take that we see it from a different perspective. Okay. Say this is my, say if you remember that at z equal to, means I have a z equal to xc in the zero forcing equalizer, and x means that matrix actually, that is 2n, this matrix, if you can remember, it was 2n plus 1 plus 2n plus 1 in the previous case. This is your C and this is your Z. That we have started. Now here I am saying no, instead of doing that I am saying, and this was 2n plus 1 plus 2n. Now I am saying no, this matrix is not 2n plus 1 plus 2n plus 1. I will take more number of data points. That means I am taking something that if you remember, that means here that I am doing this. Rather, I am saying instead of 2n plus 1, I am taking on this side it is 2n, that side it is 2n. So that means this length is 4n plus 1. Okay, all zeros awesome. And they are also, because it is all time point, that is 4n plus 1 means what I like to say, what I am doing, that means this is my output, this side it is 2n, that side it is 2n, and this side is 1, that is 4n plus 1, P0t. And Here I have values, all these PR0 values. PR0 means already I know what is my PR0. PR0, that means instead of 2n here, 2n that here, I am taking some, say, minus k to plus k, say k maybe 2n, that means 4n plus 1. That means this side is 2n, this side, earlier I used to take minus n, total 2n plus 1. And now I am taking minus 2n, minus plus 2n, and 1, that is 4n plus 1. So that means then what will happen? This length instead of 2n plus 1, this length will be 4n plus 1. And then you have 4n plus 1 cross this matrix. This matrix length will be 4n plus 1 cross 12 plus 1. Because this side I am keeping 12 plus 1. Okay. So if I check it, that means see is Z, that is that out left side, that is your 4n plus 1. This is your 2n plus 1. And this is a rectangular matrix which is 4n plus Z equal to X is 4n plus 1 cross 2. Actually, if you do that differentiation, actually this will come. Now I have this equation Z equal to X. Z equal to X means just the same thing, only difference is that the same equation. The same equation. The same equation. Only here I am writing Z, this is X, this is C is C, but this X is, this is a 4n plus 1 length, this is a 4n plus 1 cross 2n plus 1, and this C is same. Okay. So then you cannot just do the inverse. In that case, what will you do? You will do the pseudo inverse. That means what we have to do. So this is the zero forcing is that 2n plus 1 plus 2n plus 1. And this book is written there. The previous one, what we are talking about. But the this is the zero forcing. They have also solved one problem. Now, minimum MSE is, that is, I have a Z equal to XC. If you see, remember, that is Z equal to, say I am putting a capital X. And this is C. Okay. Then I multiply both sides with X transpose. That means your X transpose Z equal to capital X transpose capital X. Okay. Now, this one, X transpose Z, please remember, this is, sorry. I am multiplying with X transpose. This is a matrix. Okay. That's why I am writing capital X. Okay. Now, so these will be a matrix multiplying with vector. So this is Rxz. Please remember, and this is Rxx. Please remember, X transpose Z. Actually, if you take the expectation of this one, then actually you will get Rxz. Actually, in true sense, because see, it is a cross correlation, autocorrelation. They are all some expectation operator. But what I am doing, as I am not using expectation, so really it is not cross correlation. Please remember, cross correlation vector and autocorrelation matrix. This is autocorrelation matrix. They are saying, but actually it is a cross correlation estimate of the cross correlation vector. Actually, I should write it. Okay. So, because what I am saying, that means if you have what is the expectation of X? Expectation of X is something like that summation of Xn divided by 1 by n limit n tends to. But if you say that means no, as I don't have value, I have only one data point. How will you estimate that if I say I have only one data point? So how will you calculate expectation? That expectation is that same value, expectation of x equal to x, you can say, because we don't have, but ideally it should be x1 plus x2 by 2, then x1 plus x2 plus x3 by 2. In that way, we calculate expectation. So as we don't have anything, so only one value, okay, because that we are not putting expectation, so we are writing estimate of the cross correlation vector, and this is the estimate of auto correlation vector. Actually, this one you will get, because if you do this differentiation of the equation, you will get this. And what is my C? Then C equal to, you see that x transpose x whole inverse x transpose Z. That means Rx x inverse and Rx Z. This is Rx. So now this one is called this x transpose x whole inverse x transpose. This is called the Moore-Penrose inverse or simple inverse. That in that book it is. Right. This is that. This is Moore-Penrose. And as you see, that means you are basically, as if you see very carefully, what earlier I did, that I did, it is minus n to plus n. Now, in the previous case, 0 for C equalizer. Now, in this case, what we are doing, basically, k equal to minus 2n to plus n. Now, if I take, I am solving some sort of equation Ax equal to b. Okay. Now, A is some sort of a square matrix measurement, and finally you are calculating x equal to a. Instead of that, if I take some sort of a, okay, which is a tall matrix, okay, and tall matrix, say it is some sort of a, say I have a is say 4 cross 4, x is a 4 cross 1, and b is 4 cross 1. So you are calculating, that is 4 unknown from 4 equations. Rather, instead of that, you take a number of equations and 4 unknowns, and you see that x is some sort of a measurement. Okay, with x your solution, and if x is a noisy, then you will see that if you take one number of equations, okay, then then you take like this one number of measured equations. If you take what x you will get, if it is x is noise free, then you will get the same thing, because you cannot calculate A inverse, because A is a tall matrix. Okay, number of rows are more than number of columns. In that time, what we do, A transpose A whole inverse A transpose. Okay. That is, we have studied this single inverse. Okay. Now, if you take that number of row equal to number of column, this pseudo inverse will be same as normal inverse. And if you have solution, means x is a solution, if x is some sort of a noisy, then actually this gives a robust solution. Please read a little bit of what is pseudo inverse, why it is done. So then this gives you a robust equalizer. Now, next is that decision feedback equalizer and adaptive equalizer. That at this point we are not talking about these are a bit advanced kind of thing, because till now we are talking about linear equalizer. In this decision feedback equalizer, basically there are two filters. One is feed forward and another is feedback. Okay, this is a feed forward filter and this is a feedback filter. But at this point we are not talking about decision feedback equalizer. This is a bit better equalizer. Okay, assuming that previous decision is right, then he is calculating the decision. Okay, and another is some sort of a adaptive equalizer. That decision equalizer is some sort of a same as this thing, that means once your values of C's are fixed, they are fixed. Okay. So adaptive equalizer is, that means that it is capable of tracking a slowly time varying channel. That means if you are normal in your previous 104C equalizer or MMC equalizer, the problem is once you have estimated the channel, that means you have calculated the C0, C1 and all these things, and you are doing the you are mitigating the channel depletion. That's all. But if in most of the cases channel is slowly varying, say in wireless case, that means you are moving. So that means from base station to you, the channel is continuously changing, or say, and so you have to continuously track the channel response. So if it is a slowly time varying channel response, then normal equalization that doesn't work fine. So we need to use adaptive equalization. Adaptive equalization means basically you have to calculate those C vector after certain amount of time. Okay. So now what people use? That generally people use the LMS algorithm, that is that least mean square algorithm. Now in this LMS algorithm, what they do? That means I have this ZK, and ZK is my desired output signal, sample free of ISI, and Z hat K is an estimate of ZK at time K out of the filter. Okay, so how to do the LMS filters initialization and all these things, that I am not talking about at this point. Now what do you do? That Z hat K, the Z hat K is C transpose Rx. That means figure 3.27. Check that figure 3.27. That means Z hat K. So in this one only, say if I don't use this portion is not there. So what is my, that means here you see that this one I am doing the adaptation. If this portion is not there, that means what can I do? This portion is not there. Now this time it is going like that. That means this is my filter. That means C vectors. Okay. The C vectors I have to modify. Okay. Now how will, and this is my, the filter's input is some sort of Rx. Now Rx. So in that Rx, this is nowhere related to this RxZ, RxS, nothing. It is just they have written Rx. Okay. Now let us see that what is my Z hat K. Z hat K is C transpose Rx. Let me, if you see that the filter, that means this is my, that is not there. So that means that Sama doesn't mean anything. So it is like that. So Z hat is C transpose Rx. If I represent it in a vector form, it is like that. And filter, this is my filter coefficient, C transpose into Rx. That means summation Ck Rx. Okay. Now that is a FIR filter. Okay. So it is Cn x K minus. I am just, if you remember that it is C is C minus n to C plus n. Cn x is that Rx. Rx is the vector. C is another vector. Rx is basically C minus n to C0. Rx vector is, that is x K minus K plus n x K to Now you see that xk is the current signal. Xk minus n is the n unit delayed signal. K plus n is the n unit advanced signal. Okay. So the advanced one is the top and delayed one is bottom. Okay. So now this is like that Cn xk minus n, that is some sort of a convolution you can say. So we have to write it x means Rx in this way. If you do it in the opposite way, then it will be different. Okay. So now if you see that what it will be my if you do a little bit of minimization, because I told that the LMS is read LMS filter, then actually your CK plus 1 that will be, because what do you see, that means at each K, okay, at each K I am just this, remember this is a vector, that means I am updating a vector. This is a signal Rx, okay, that is length 2n. Okay. Now C is also length, it is a 2n cross 1 length vector. This is the previous instant. Okay. And delta is a small number. Sometimes we write 1 by eta or something like that. Sometimes we write 1 by b. Okay. So then Ek and Rx. In this way, we are updating the Tk is the vector of filter wave at time k, and delta is a small term. So that slowly, if the channel is changing, see, you see that means if the channel is changing, means C is getting changed. C is getting changed means Z hat getting changed. Z hat getting changed means error is more. Okay. So now this one we just update depending on the channel's characteristics. So this is a adaptive equalizer. This is one of the simplest adaptive equalizer and LMS filter that works fine. So this is about.
Hey everybody, how's it going? My name is Alex Mir, and I'll be showing you guys how to.
This is about, that means if you do the equalization, that means if you calculate these C's and if you keep this C for quite a long time, then what happened that finally your signal, that means I have a HT, HC is gone, then HR, it is all F with the function of F, and so this is gone, this is gone. So I have HT and HR, this is X, this is Y. So I don't have any, and it is this HT and HR means this cosine. So I don't have any ISI problem. Okay. So this is about at the transmitter. Now let us go to the next one. Now next is we will talk about that it is that is not there in this book. That is we'll talk about the band pass modulation and demodulation. That is from Barnard's law. Band pass modulation and demodulation. Now, band pass modulation and demodulation, what is that? So let us see again the picture of this. Basically, we are talking about chapter 4. In my soft copy, the chapter 4 is not there. So this is a band pass modulation and demodulation. Now in this one, let us see that basic our block diagram, if you can remember that. So basically we are talking about that this. We are till now we are talking about pulse modulate. If you can remember that is pulse modulate. We are till now we are talking about this one, and this demodulate. Now we will talk about the band pass modulation. Okay, and in this band pass modulation, that and similarly also the demodulation. That means here we talk about demodulation, but here we will mainly talk about, we will discuss that. If I have a band pass modulation, then demodulator will be different. Okay, because till now we will talk about demodulation mark, because if you can remember that I said in my previous that you see that demodulation means, if you remember that I have not discussed this one earlier, because I say that it is not there. Now when I am doing this band pass modulation, I need, you see this demodulation block. You see that here we are talking about baseband pulse and directly we take the signal here. Frequency, but you see that band pass modulation, now in this band pass modulation, mostly we will that means we have a symbol. Now the problem is that say if I say I have a pulse kind of thing we are talking about, we transmitted the symbol over a pulse, that is based on the pulse we were say PCM we are doing for binary transmission. If it is not binary, if it is a MRE, we are doing MRE PAM and all. But basic point is it was all pulse like. But in this one, so that means when we are in the band pass modulation, we are basically transmitting through sinusoid. Okay, this is band pass modulation. Sometimes we say carrier wave modulation. That means basically what we are trying to do, we are transmitting over a high frequency carrier. That means high frequency carrier means that, see, first of all, if I transmit to a, why suddenly high frequency carrier is coming into, say you are trying to transmit through a wireless channel. Now you have to see that means that channel, that is channel has given you the operator has given you some spectrum, that means say 2.4 gigahertz plus minus something. So you have to take your symbols, everything to that 2.4 gigahertz, and there you have to do certain things. Now in this one, that 2.4 gigahertz is called carrier. Now, and in the high frequency, if you do high frequency and there if you do all these things, then if you, that is with carrier wave, if you do, first of all, you have certain advantages, just like antenna diameter. Because if you have a low frequency one, then your antenna diameter will be much more. If it is a high frequency one, then you have some sort of high frequency carrier, then antenna diameter you will see that it is much less and all. Now that the carrier wave, general carrier wave, that is a general carrier wave. It is a sinusoid with some ST to the power sine omega t kind of. So that is, I can say ST equal to some, say, amplitude AT cos omega 0 t plus phi something. I can write 0 t plus phi. Something like this. Now, this one we know. Now, this basic band pass modulation and demodulation. First, what we have to do, that means we like to do some sort of amplitude. See, in analog communication, generally we talk about amplitude modulation, frequency modulation, phase modulation, and all these things. But that what we do in this Lachi's book to find it, that means we first talk about, that means we will do some sort of a digital carrier signals. That means digital carrier signal means the carrier is cos omega ct, modulating signal is mt, that is carrier is cos omega ct, that is, this is my, if you write it is a cos omega ct. Okay. Now, what we are trying to do, ASK means that this amplitude, I will modulate this amplitude, what will I do? That means depending on my signal, I will just do the transmission. That means, see, let me say first I am doing some sort of a digital carrier system, that is basic binary carrier module. First of all, what is my AT cos omega ct? It is like this. Something like that. What I am trying to do, that means first I am doing a, say this is what 80 cos omega ct, say something like this. Something. And I am assuming some 80 equal to 1 or something. So it is my carrier. Okay. This is E. Okay. Now this is your A. Now, say I have a string of say 1. I like to transmit 1, 0. Then what will I do? And I will say that means this. Say this is my some 1 means some sort of some two full sinusoid. 0 means again 2 full sinusoid. Say 1. 1 means the signal is present. That means this is my the modulating signal, or that we want to transmit. Okay. Now this one, that means I like to transmit this signal by modulating the amplitude, which is when we say amplitude shift. What do we do? That means 1 means there is no change of amplitude. Okay. Rather, what I am doing, I am writing MT into 80. I will design some S prime T or something, which is MT into 80 cos omega CT plus 1. Then what will happen? 1 is something I am saying your cos is up to this, next cos is. So I don't have any problem. Then I have 0. So I will not do any transmission. And generally what we do, that is we choose this 1, 0 in such a way that with this duration, actually we just do something here. Okay. And then 0 means that means what I am doing basically from here, or rather even further. Then 0 means I am not transmitting anything. Here to the first. Okay. Then again 1, I will move. So I will transmit then 0 means 2, yes. Then this is my 1. Then again 0. I will make again. This is called amplitude shift. Okay. So phi ASK, this is my phi, we say that. Okay. Now these frequencies omega C frequency, that is carrier. This is much more high frequency, you see. That means it is okay. So sometimes amplitude shift key, sometimes we say on off key. Okay. Now sometimes we talk about that phase shift. Now what is my phase shift key? Phase shift key is basically there are 2 things, ASK, PSK and FSK. So now in PSK, that is that or rather fast because say what is my MT? MT is basically this one. That is, if I just design this summation AK P T minus KT. You can remember. Means what? 1 means 0, something like this. This is your input that I am writing. AK, then take A1, then A1 is 1, then is PT minus TB plus PT minus TB in that way. And what is my PT? Equal to square function. If you remember, T minus TB by 2 TB. You can remember. Is it clear? What is pi T minus TB by 2 by TB? Let us see that whether I have defined earlier. Yes, and the document is defined. Pi of t that is equal to minus half half. So that means that is minus TB by 2 to plus TB by 2, and with this is the case. Now phi of ASKT is first one lesson. Now, if it is a PSK, then what would happen? That by PSK key, you see, it is same type of waveform. I will show you that what it is, that where is the difference. It is the same thing. Okay. And what is empty? That the same thing. That empty equal to same box like thing. That is summation over AK PT minus KT. Now AK is plus minus 1, the polar bipolar. Okay. Now if I do this, then what will happen? That means in the phase, I am using, earlier I used AK was 1 and 0. Here I am doing 1 and minus 1. Then that if it is some sort of a 2 1, say I have a signal like this 1 1, then 0. Fixed. Then what is my waveform? Like this. Then negative, because this is your 0 line. Then say 1. Then plus 1. Now, if you, but you see that this is some sort of a plus minus 1 volt. Though it is logical 0, but you plot it. This is plus 1 volt. This is minus 1 volt. This is TB, 2 TB, 3 TB. Now, in that case, if I just multiply with cosine, then what will happen at this 1, 0? In this case, there will be a, you see, that, say I have a something like that is going on. Now, normally if I have 1, then it will move like this. But if I have a minus 1, then it will go to here. Okay. Then what will happen? I have moved like this. Something like that. Do you agree? This is a minus cos. And at this point again it is 1. So you see there's a transition. Now this is called some sort of, that means I have a phase change. So there is a 180 degree phase change. So this is, so that means by seeing these spectra, you will understand this is the modulated signal is mt cos omega ct, and this is then known as phase shift. If it is frequency shifting, then what do we do? That means I will modify this. You see, that means phase shifting means depending on the symbol waveform, I am modifying the phase. Okay. Now, if it is frequency shifting means I am changing the frequency of depending on this signal. That means if it is mt cos omega ct, and if it is 1, then say I am doing mt cos 2 omega ct. That means what will I do for this frequency shifting? Say I am doing something like that. As it is 0, then what? So this is some sort of 2 omega star, and this is some sort of omega star. Sorry, this is a lot of zeros. So that means you see that frequency is suddenly changing. Again you have got 1, then suddenly you are doing like this. Then again you have got 0. You are decreasing the frequency. So that means what you are basically doing, that means you are, when you are saying logical 1, you are transmitting say omega c plus some delta omega c, and 0 means you are transmitting omega c minus delta. The two frequency. That means you are changing the frequency. That means that's why it's called frequency shift. Here you are changing the phase. That is, here you are changing the phase. That's why it is called phase shift here. And here you are changing the amplitude phi. That is depending on these sequences. That's why it's called amplitude shift. So next time we will discuss this. Okay. Okay. Thank you very much.